S.S. Deshmukh sir, Dr. P.G. Dikshit, Professor S.R. Chaudhary sir, Dr. Amruta Oki, Dr. Ashoka Kamre sir, and Dr. M.D. Alandikar sir. I heartfully welcome respected co-convener of FDP, Dr. Subhashri Mukherjee Madam, Coordinator, IQAC Kamla Nehru Mahavidyalaya Nagpur, and Dr. Anjali Sardesai Madam, Coordinator, IQAC Modern College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Pune. I also welcome all the respected faculty members, IQAC members, and all the participants from various colleges across India. Today, we are on the 5th day of 1 week online faculty development program. I also welcome all the respected faculty members, IQAC members, and all the participants from various colleges across India. Today, we are on the 5th day of 1 week online faculty development program. I also welcome all the respected faculty members, IQAC members, and all the participants from various colleges across India. Today, we are on the 5th day of 1 week online faculty development program. I also welcome all the respected faculty members, IQAC members, and all the participants from various colleges across India. Today, we are on the 5th day of 1 week online faculty development program. I also welcome all the respected faculty members, IQAC members, and all the participants from various colleges across India. Today, we are on the 5th day of 1 week online faculty development program. Sorry for some technical error. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
So sorry to all once again, due to some technical problem, the network has been breakdown. So today we are on the 5th day of 1 week online faculty development program on e-content development and delivery, research methodology and autonomy, organized jointly by Kamla Nehru Mahavidyalaya Nagpur and Modern College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Shivaji Nagar, Pune, in association with RUSA, Maharashtra. On this auspicious occasion, today we have knowledgeable personality with us as a resource person, respected Professor Rajneesh Kamath sir, Director, IQAC, and Professor of Electronic and Head of Computer Science Department from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Having 25 years of teaching experience, he graced many positions like Director of Innovation, Incubation and Linkages, Director of Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Coordinator of Internet Unit, Coordinator of UGC Cell for Career Counseling, Coordinator of GIAN. He worked as nominee of Honorable Chairman UGC for adjudging autonomy to various institutes in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, working as nominee of Honorable Chairman UGC on various institutes in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Export Assessor of NAC, Bangalore. He was awarded by Young Scientist Award under DST Fast Track Scheme, Best Teacher Award of Shivaji University, Kolhapur, Texas Instruments Mentorship Award, Global Cyber Helpline Award. He was felicitated by Citizen Forum for projecting Kolhapur as an emerging IT destination. He had 125 publications in journals and 12 reference books from reputed publishing houses such as IEEE, Elsevier, Springer, river, etc. He guided 14 PhD students. Now, without wasting much time, I am highly delighted to call upon a dynamic personality, respected Professor Rajneesh Kamath sir, who will throw a light on topic research methodology in today's session. Over to you, Kamath sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, all of you. First, I would like to share my screen. I hope my presentation is visible. Can you please confirm?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Visible. Okay.
Okay.
So once again, good evening, all of you. Thank you very much, Vaishali ma'am, for introducing me so nicely. I heard that this is the 5th day of the online faculty development program. And I would like to, on this occasion, I would like to thank RUSA, SPD Maharashtra, Dr. Joshi sir, and Dr. Pabrekar sir for giving me this opportunity. Thanks to your college and also Modern College, Pune, for inviting me to speak on this particular session. As you know, there are many friends in the audience. I can see Dr. Paul madam is there in the audience. My another friend, Dr. Samir Patil, the former colleague from Goa, is also there in the audience. So I take this opportunity to welcome you, welcome all of them for this particular talk. And I was also, before joining the session, 15 minutes back, I was going through the clip of the college, and I think my another friend, Dr. Dahikar, is there in this particular college. So we have worked together on various occasions, and I know Dr. Dahikar in person. Dr. Badwaik was quite kind enough to call me on several occasions and to get in touch with me regarding my talk and other formalities. So thank you very much, sir, for all this. Today I'll be speaking on research methodology, and this is such a exciting topic because, as you know, that this is a kind of passion for all the academicians, for all of us. Because whenever we work in academics, right, and then apart from teaching, the main job which is entrusted to us is the research. And why academicians are special, why their career is so, you can say it is different from all other professions. That is because on one hand, they are dealing with young minds and they are teaching the students. On the other hand, they are also helping the nation by the way of research, because that they take up as a part of their duties. Research in various front end, or you can say in the frontier dimensions, and then through the research they are helping the nation, they are helping the society. And therefore for an academician, for all of us, research is a passion, and research is very, very important. It lies to the heart of our career, and it's a very important issue for all of us. And therefore, since this is a very important aspect of our job, this is a integrated aspect of our job, we should actually do it in a right manner. So whenever we are conducting the research, because throughout my career, I have seen many research, I have worked on many research projects. I'll be giving a glimpse of the research projects on which I have worked. And as it was introduced, I have published in almost all the kind of publishers, all the journals. Books are also there. So through this journey of my academic experience, I could get something regarding the research methodology that I would like to share with all of you, that whatever I got during this journey, it's a really pleasure to share with you. in this particular talk, I'll be taking the reference of many resource materials. I'll be referring many tools, platforms, images, and many other things that I have taken from third-party source. And the first and foremost job or duty of the researcher is to be honest. So whenever we take reference from or we take some material, academic material or resource material from some other source, we must acknowledge that. And therefore, you will find that in all my presentation, everywhere where the resource material is taken from some other source, so those materials are duly acknowledged. And this comes under, because as a researcher, we should also know about what are the copyright issues, what is the fair use clause of the copyright. So all this comes under fair use clause of the copyright, because whatever we are, through our efforts, we are contributing, it is going in a public domain. And whenever it is going in a public domain, we must give credit to the creator of the knowledge. And this is my earnest request to all of you, that whenever such a you are taking help from some other researcher, we must cite the things. And citations are very important as a whole in research. And that's what I have done it. As I was talking to you, that I will be talking in general on research methodology, but in particular, I'll be dealing with the writing aspect, the documentation aspect of the research methodology. So therefore, it is said that instead of get it right, it should be get it right. So it is RIGST is a very important thing. So not only we should be dealing with right, WRIT, but we should deal it in a RIGST manner, the right manner. And this talk is all about how to document your research publications, how to document your research papers, how you will be helping your PhD scholars or even postgraduate scholars to deal with their dissertations, theses in a right manner, in a very ethical manner. So that's what, and that is without not compromise the productivity. So productivity is also one important aspect of the research. It is just like the paradox between quantity and quality. People say that we should always focus on quality, not on quantity. But I would say that both the things are important. Quantity is also important and quality is also important. So we should have the quantity of quality. And this is possible only with the help of technology. So I'll be giving a glimpse of a few technological tools during my talk. And you will find it very interesting, because whenever we are pursuing some research, always we don't have right kind of mentors around us. And then who is helping us? So it is none other than the technology. So if you just get hooked up on some certain technological tools in the right manner, then you can come out with the right kind of documentation or the research methodology. So at the first step, I would like to place in front of you what is the motivation of my talk. So when I started my career, or when I started seriously thinking about research, so there were many sources of scholarly sources, but one of the most vital scholarly source that I want to acknowledge here is the Purdue Writing Laboratory. So if you just put it in the Google, the Purdue Writing Laboratory, you will get to a web page, and that web page is regarding the writing laboratory of Purdue University, USA. And this writing laboratory is a kind of innovation that the university is doing. On this particular page, you will find it all the resources regarding the research. You will find right from how to write your resume, how to give recommendation letters to your interns, or how to write research papers, how to cite the references, whatnot. Everything is there in this Purdue Writing Laboratory. So, and this laboratory, they conduct many online courses for the benefit of researchers. So my appeal to all of you, because I can see there are around 191 participants, they are listening to this particular talk. So I want to appeal to all of you that please make it a point to visit the page of Purdue Writing Laboratory. It's a kind of innovation. If you are interested, as I said, the right kind of balance between the quantity and quality. The quality is important and quantity is also important. Then you must get the help of the tools. And you will find that all these tools are available on the website of Purdue University. And this Purdue Writing Laboratory is a kind of innovation. And we at Shivaji University tried to build a small model of a writing laboratory, uh, say last 5 years. And this was appreciated by NAC like anything. So writing laboratory, you must have heard about the physics laboratory, chemistry laboratory, or botany zoology laboratory. But writing laboratory is a special innovation in which the researcher can simply sit in front of machine, having all the data and all the tables, and then the researcher can interpret the things. He can place the things in front of the research community. He can get more citations. He can get to know regarding the high impact factor journals. He or she come to know that what kind of right kind of journal is there available for publishing the research. So all these things, so all these resources are available in the writing laboratory. And we tried to build a model of this writing laboratory at Shivaji University. I was mentioning to you that I have worked on many research projects, and I'm also working right now on these research projects. These are just not to boost myself, but I just would like to place in front of you that these are the research projects I've been handling. And right from I started my career way back in 1996, and from there onwards, I have been working on various projects. And one part of project is if you have the right kind of proposal, because whenever you are dealing with a particular research project or whenever you are requesting the grants from the apex bodies like DST, UGC, MHRD, uh, all these apex bodies, if you are asking or if you are requesting the grants, then the important thing is you should have the right kind of research problem. That is first thing. Second thing is that you should have the right kind of methodology, and that methodology should be reflected through your proposal, through your writing, through your documentation. And third thing is, which is very important thing, is the problem which you have chosen should be in the niche area in the national interest. So I personally believe that whenever we are uh, trying to get funds from apex bodies, funds from government of India, the first we should funds, they are coming through the pockets of the taxpayers, the public, and therefore we should focus on the problems, on the research problems, which lies in the at the heart of the society, which are really important in the national interest. So these problems are really important. So you can see that right now I'm running a center in cybersecurity and data science, which has been sponsored by MHRD under Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching. Or the other project which RUSA was very, they were kind to grant this particular project, is a project under Center for VLSI System Design, which I am handling at Shivaji University Kolhapur. And apart from that, there is a project of European Union, wherein I am also working with NAC Bengaluru and other universities in Europe under the Erasmus Plus scheme to come out with the quality benchmarks, which will help the higher education. So if you see these kind of projects, the main important thing is the right kind of problem you should tackle, the right kind of problem you should take up for your investigation. Then and then only it is possible to get the funds. And getting the right kind of problem is important. Equally important is the putting the right kind of problem in the right kind of terminology. So all these rights are really important. So if you can do this, then there is no dearth of funds or there is no dearth of getting the grants from the apex agencies. And therefore, this talk is important. This talk is dealing with, it is just guiding you regarding how one can go ahead with this kind of documentation. This is other kind of information, the other projects. Because there are so many agencies, funding agencies in our nation, India, and there is a UGC, DST, DBT is there, then Medical Council of India is there, Agricultural Council of India is there. So many agencies are there, and those agencies, they have their own focus areas. So if you know their focus areas, and if your focus area or your the field of persuasion, if they are matching, then there is no problem in getting the grants. And these grants are possible through the proposal which you can put forth to the funding agencies. So we must know that where we can place our proposals, what kind of proposals are possible to place under the funding agencies. And getting the project, the foremost important thing is we also have we must have the requisite background in the area. We can't simply put up a proposal in a area which is a very new area without having the requisite background. If we have publications, if we have some research experience in that particular area, then only we can get the funds. We can put up a proposal in that specialization. And therefore, research as a career, if you look at the career as a research, then there should be a systematic journey from getting the doctorate and then coming out with good number of publications in terms of quantity, in terms of quality, in terms of good impact factor journal, and then going ahead in the career with uh, pursuing the career with the right kind of problems throughout your career. So this is how it all goes. Apart from that, I am also fortunate to publish many books at the international level. The one I would like to mention is I am a proud author of Springer, and through Springer UK, I have published many books. Apart from that, there is another agency called as River Publications, which is at Netherlands. So, and there is a IGI Global, the encyclopedia, wherein I could publish my couple of articles. So all this goes to the credit as an author, and therefore I feel that whatever I gained as a author during publishing career or publications, I should share with all of you. So I'll be sharing all my experiences regarding the publishing the books, publications in the journals, and as a whole, what care has to be taken as far as the ethics are concerned whenever you publish a paper. And publishing itself is not enough. What is enough, what is required is you should track where your publications are going. So if you go to Google and if you try to get the Google books, right, then you will get to know that where your books are placed in the libraries all over the globe. This is one of my book which is placed in USA, UK, Germany, Australia. So you can see that there are many books, and these books, they are going to are placed in the libraries all over the globe. So this kind of tracking is also important. So what I mean to say is merely publishing number of papers is of no use unless those are quality publications, unless those publications are being cited, being referred by other peers, by the other researchers. So that is also equally important. If you look at my chapter downloads of the books, because nowadays, whenever you publish a book, the individual chapters are also getting published separately. So if you look at the statistics, I just one book I published in 2011, and you can see that the number of chapters which are downloaded, they are increasing. There's a consistent increase or a constant kind of downloading you can track on the Springer website. So in this way, this is also one aspect which is very important, that publication and tracking the things are really important. So we must care about our metrics. It's called a metrics of research publications, like what are the journals, what is the impact factor of the journal wherein we are publishing, or how many peers have cited our publications. So that is important. Or where, if we have published a books at international level, where those books are placed, how many circulations of these books are taking place all over the globe. So all these things important. Other than that, yet another aspect which is important is IPR. So for patents are very important, because patents for science and not only science and technology, even for humanities nowadays, many patents are getting filed. So how to write these patents? Because writing the patents is way different than writing a paper, or way different than writing a book. So patent writing is also a very good area, very niche area, wherein many careers are available. And if you think about India as a whole and our science and technology strengths, then we must have more and more number of patents, because all over the globe, if you compare, like the countries like South Korea, they are coming out with so many number of patents, or the other countries like Singapore, for example, they are coming out with so many patents. They are filing the patents. So filing the patents is important. And again, as I said, in case of books, we should track the circulations. In case of papers, we must see the citations. In case of patents, we must see how many patents we can commercialize, how many technology transfers are possible as far as patents are concerned. So that is also important. So in this way, progressively, one by one, as we evolve as a researcher, we must have more increasing kind of milestones in front of us. So that it is a kind of sustenance, the kind of progress we can see with those milestones. So those milestones are very important, and those milestones one can see in the form of various metrics like the citations, the impact factor, the H index, or the number of books we have published. The book citation index is a new metric which has come up. Number of patents, technology transfers. So all these things, they are very important, and they will actually they will form your profile, or they will acquaint you with the world as a scientist. So therefore, we must know. This is one of my papers, which was awarded at the global level, wherein the ICT emergence in India with other authors. Because again, whenever you deal with the publications, publication is a teamwork. So you must work with other authors in a collaborative manner. Herein, I'll be giving some tools wherein you can start collaborating with other authors in a as a team. So technology helps you in a lot many manners. So here, if you have the right kind of technology tool, then you can simply start writing the paper online by using the technology with the other authors, so that you can form a virtual team. Virtual team formation is possible, and on the virtual team, you can divide your paper. You can form the skeleton of your paper, and then everyone can start simultaneously. Everyone can correct each other. So everything is possible on the online basis itself. So therefore, again, technology plays a very important role in research. So coming to the agenda of this talk, I'll be starting with what is research. To just I'll give a brief about what is research, my notion about research, and then what is research methodology. Once research is explained, then how to pursue the research, what methodology can be followed, and that is research methodology. One part of, as I said, that one part of the research methodology is research writing, documentation, writing the papers, writing the research proposals. So in particular, I'll be dealing with the writing part, how to document your research, how to go for the papers, how to go with the right kind of journal. And when we are dealing with the writing the papers, the equally important is following the ethics, because ethics are very, very important. You must have heard about the plagiarism. You must have heard about the copy paste structure, copy and paste structure. So how one can avoid that copy paste structure? How one can lead the ideas in an original manner? How one can go ahead with writing the papers, original papers? So all these things I'll be dealing with research ethics. Apart from that, as I mentioned that these days, with the increasing competition in the research spheres, what is important is how one can increase the productivity of the research. Because here, as the quality is important, quantity is also important. I was talking about the quantity of quality. So how one can increase the quantity of quality by using the technology tools. Because technology helps you a lot as far as increasing the productivity of the research is concerned. And then I'll be concluding my talk, and I'll be putting in front of you a proposal wherein we can work on a continuous, on a sustaining manner by using platforms like ResearchGate. You must have, I'm sure that you must have heard about a platform called as ResearchGate. So on this ResearchGate, how it is possible to work together, and whatever we'll be discussing in this particular talk, how we can realize those things in practice. So I'll be putting up a proposal so that since RUSA is sponsoring this event, and RUSA is the main organizer of this event, I would like to appeal to all of you that why not we come together, why not we form a forum, and why not we come out with the research proposals, the research papers, which will strengthen our community, and as a whole, it will strengthen our nation. So that particular part will be at the end. Let me start with the importance of research. So why basically we pursue the research? Why research is very, very important? There are four reasons, but I want to deal with only one reason, and that is very important reason. The research, or you can say this is the research. So revisiting whatever has happened previously, how one can address the gaps in the knowledge. So therefore, one of the most important aspect of any research proposal or research study is the literature survey. And that literature survey is basically with the intention that what are the gaps in the existing state of art knowledge. So therefore, addressing the gaps in the knowledge is the first and foremost aspect. What our predecessors or our previous research groups they have done, and what is exactly lacking in their efforts, and how one can fill up the gap. So that's the kind of research. That is the basic notion of the research. The other notion of the research is expanding the knowledge base. So basically, whatever knowledge base we have right now, as you know, today we are having this COVID-19, and therefore our knowledge base is not that adequate to deal with COVID-19. Then we must have go for further research, and we can expand the knowledge base so that we can cope up, we can address the shortcomings, we can address the critical situations, whatever coming in forefront of the humanities. So therefore, expanding the knowledge is another important aspect of research. Replication of the knowledge is third aspect. So here knowledge can be put to the use of the society by the way of the technology transfer and other things. The another aspect which is important for research is adding the voices of individuals to the knowledge. So you must have seen the research which is happening in humanities, social sciences, because I know that in front of me there are many researchers from different fields. So therefore, I would like to touch upon all other fields also. Science and technology is important, no doubt, but equally important is the humanities, the management, the social sciences, the languages. So these are also really important because if you see the holistic picture of the research, a research in one area is not sufficient. So people used to talk about the interdisciplinary research, the research area which is spanning to more than one discipline. But now we are talking about, if you just go through the new education policy, which was publicized yesterday, this policy is talking about the transdisciplinary research. So not only research in one discipline or interdisciplinary, it is transdisciplinary. The research which is touching upon more than 2 or 3 disciplines, that too diversified disciplines. So why such a need is there? Because that will strengthen the human society, that will strengthen that will make the life of human very easy, that will preserve the culture, that will preserve the traditions, that will preserve the treasure of the knowledge. So therefore, research in transdisciplinary is very important. And this is the basic notion behind the research. This is the basic intention behind the research. And that's why more and more people, they are going for the research as a career. I know that, as I mentioned, that many people from these different disciplines, they are in front of me. And therefore, whenever you deal with the transdisciplinary research, so the natural question is how one should look at the research. As a science and technology person, or as a humanities, or as a social scientist, as a linguistic person, how one should look at the research. A best example, very appropriate example I would like to give to all of you. So a ethical question is, why did the chicken cross the road? A very simple question, why a chicken has crossed the road. Now, if you look at different kind of researchers, a researcher from philosophy, like Plato, they can say that for the greater good, the chicken has crossed the road for the greater good. While the person from languages, like Shakespeare, they can say in a different words, to cross or not to cross. That is the question. So this is in linguistic form. If you see a person in science and technology, so they might say whether the chicken crossed the road or the road crossed the chicken depends on your frame of reference. So frame of reference is very important. If you see the biologist or the persons from natural science or the botany, zoology, so they might say, or the evolution studies, it was the logical next step after coming down from the trees, right? And a graduate student who just graduated and started a PhD in this topic, he will be interested in saying that, was that regular or extra crispy? So you can see that whenever we talk about the interdisciplinary research, whenever we talk about the transdisciplinary research, whenever research personnel from different backgrounds, from different disciplines, they come together and they want to pursue the research on a particular topic, they look at the topic from different perspectives. And therefore, if you want to satisfy their thirst of knowledge, then what's important is following the right kind of methodology. And that is the main important aspect of the research methodology. Why research methodology is important? Because research methodology is a science as well as an art, and this science and art together, it deals with the people of different backgrounds, different specializations, different perspectives, and they would like to give certain kind of guidelines that how to pursue a research as a whole, irrespective of the specializations or irrespective of the background, irrespective of the domain the research workers are working. So they would like to give a perspective regarding how the research has to be pursued, how systematically it has to be pursued, what are the inputs for the research, what are the outputs for the research, how the research problem should be formulated, all such questions, all such issues the research methodology is dealing. And therefore, if you see that the starting point of any researcher, or you know that today even the research is going into undergraduate and post-graduation. So the starting point for any researcher is the systematic study of research methodology. And it's a very important science and arts as far as the research careers are concerned. So then what is research methodology? So research methodology, the right kind of definition of research methodology is a highly intellectual human activity. So after all, it's a intellectual human activity which is of highest order. And why this activity? That is for used in the investigation of nature and matter, and deals specifically with the manner in which data is collected, analyzed, and interpreted. So today, data is very important for any kind of research. Data is very important, and the data is becoming huge. Now they call it as big data. So data which is spanning, it has got different dimensions, it has got different speed of emergence, and this data collection itself is a challenge. Sampling has become a challenging issue. So therefore, there are different techniques to collection of data. There are different techniques to analyze the data, because whenever the data is becoming huge, the data is becoming big, the data is becoming bulky, there are issues of analyzing, there are issues of storing, there are issues of interpreting the data. So therefore, today the main aspect of research is how one can go ahead with the collection of data, analysis of data, and interpretation of data. So all such aspects are really important, and research methodology deals with all these aspects. Another definition of research methodology, which is well agreed by most of the researchers, is a system of models, procedures, and techniques used to find the result of research problem is called as research methodology. So basically, research methodology is nothing but, again, it is a system of models. There are some set procedures. So irrespective of the discipline, irrespective of the domain, these procedures can be applied to any kind of research problem. And then there are some set techniques which can be used to find the result of a research problem. So whatever research problem you are taken up, so this research methodology will really help you to address the research problem. Yes. So therefore, the research methodology is domain irrespective, and it's as a whole, it's a science that deals with whatever research problem, whatever domain you are taking up. So this is a very good slide I have taken from EPG Pathshala. So this slide deals with what are the different steps of the research. So as a whole, the a researcher would like to answer something like who, where, when, how, what, why. So these questions, different kind of questions. So the different kind of questions are asked to ourselves, or to ask to other people, or ask to the surveyors, the sample we are collecting. And this particular research, there are different steps, such as the problem identification is the number one step, which is a very important step, because Steve Jobs has rightly said that solutions are not important. What is important is identification of the problems is important. And here, basically, the researcher has to find out, or researcher has to locate the judicious. It must have a good problem. So identification of problem is the challenging job for every researcher. Unless the problem is identified, we can't find the solutions. So problem identification is the most important task for a researcher. After identification of the problem, then the literature review comes into the picture. How to review the available literature. So there are many sources, the primary literature, the secondary literature, scholarly literature. So all these sources are there. And today in the era of internet, all these literature is available at the at the fingertips. You can simply browse and you can get the data. Then problem formulation. Well, the problem is identified, but the problem should be written or should be presented or should be placed in front of community with the exactly the wording of the research. So here the terminology is very important. So problem formulation is another area which is important because today research is carried out in teams. It is not a single person's activity. It is carried out in the team. It is divided, and then many people work on that. So therefore, the standardizations are very important, and problem formulation is a kind of standardization whenever the problem is identified. The next thing is getting the grants or dissemination of the research. So where the writing part is important, or writing part comes into the picture. So here the research proposal writing, the paper writing, research paper writing, the presentation of the papers in conferences, in scientific forums. So how to do this in a scientific manner. So writing part is important. And today's my talk will be specifically dealing with the writing part, writing of the research. Then comes the deciding the methodology. What kind of methodology is used? If you are social scientist, then what sample should be chosen? What should be the size of the sample? What kind of sampling technique should be used? So methodology is important. Then sample collection, preparation of tools for data collections. Data collection is important. So these days of web, because web is everywhere, it is ubiquitous. So you can have the surveys on web and how many questions to be there, how many open-ended questions, how many closed questions, all such things. So tools of data collections are very important. Collecting the data itself is important. Then analyzing and interpreting the data is important. And again, the last part is dissemination. So whatever the research studies or research investigation has been done, so how one can write it in the form of research report so it can be disseminated to the masses at large. Because ultimate aim of the research is to create the knowledge, is to add value to the existing knowledge. So in that case, how one can disseminate the research in the most effective manner so that there will be many beneficiaries of the research. Whatever the grant which has been invested in the research, the grant can be justified. So therefore, dissemination part is also important. And these days, again, there are social networks are there, blogs are there, or wikis you must have heard. There is a podcasting, or there are events like this, today's event. So wherein the dissemination part is taken care. So that is also important. But today we'll be discussing about the writing part. And it is also a kind of dissemination, which is very important as far as the research is concerned. I have a very beautiful picture which shows research methodology at glance in one go. Okay, so if you look at this particular tree, this is called as a research methodology tree. Of course, there is a source. So this tree, in one go, it explains what is research methodology. So research methodology, at the root, it deals with ontology. So ontology is nothing but how we view the world, right? So what is our perspective to view at the world? So that is ontology. Another part which is important is STEM, that is epistemology. So in the epistemology, how we should investigate the world. So after looking at the world, our view of the world is important. After fixing, framing, or zeroing down our view of the world, the next important thing is how we can investigate the world. So whatever problems we foresee in the world, how one can have methodology to solve the problem. So that is epistemology. Then comes methodology. So methodology is, if you want to solve the problems, then how one can collect the data, how we should best collect the data. So that is methodology. And methodology is important. Other important part is methods. So details of exactly how we collect the data. So how the data is collected, how to collect the best data, and what is our view of the world, the problems in the world, the gaps in the knowledge, and then at the base, at the root is how we view the world itself. So therefore, it is said that the research methodology curriculum should be introduced at the undergraduate level, because as the students are evolving or they are budding up in a research environment, they will come to know regarding this entire research ecosystem. You can say this is the ecosystem of the research. And this ecosystem, knowing this ecosystem is very important. Then and then only it is possible to pursue a very useful research. Of course, there are some negative effects, or there are some how not to pursue research methodology. This slide, I can say it is the best way to explain what not to do rather than what to do. So what not to do. So what not to do is, as a researcher, we have a hobby. I won't say all of you, but few researchers, they have got a hobby of extrapolating. So extrapolating means, this is one example. The other example, for example, COVID-19. So COVID-19, the patients are increasing. So they come out with some kind of this straight line, and then they predict that by December 2020, this many number of patients will be there. This will be the scenario. This is a simple extrapolation, which is of no use. For example, here you can see this person has simply extrapolated. Here somewhere the marriage has taken place, and this person is telling the lady, as you can see, by late next month, you will have over 4 dozen husbands, which is not possible because this is the extrapolation, right? So therefore, we should go away from the extrapolation. Extrapolation is not good. So we should know where the extrapolation has to be done and where the extrapolation should not be done. Best example, because this will never happen in our culture or our society. So this is a kind of false premises. So this kind of false premises we should avoid as a researcher. So therefore, I have seen many misconceptions in research. This is one misconception. The other misconception I have seen in research is, many researchers, they want only straight line behavior. They never believe in the behavior which is a square law behavior, or which is a non-linear behavior, or which is a chaotic behavior in itself. Okay, but we should be very practical. We should be very realistic, and we should document whatever we are getting, other than the theoretical things. So that's what I was sharing with you, that many people, they are based in statistics. So there is a community of statisticians. They are helping the researchers, but there are also few statisticians. So they will see to it that whatever is not falling in their straight line graph, they would like to discard those things. So that is again not a correct kind of behavior of a researcher. What happens is, many times we believe that only positive results we should get from the research, but there are sometimes we get the negative results. Sometimes our experiments, they don't give the right results, or they give false results, or not false, but they give the result not up to our expectations. And what we do is, we ignore all those results and we expect something, and we would like to put only our expectations in front of the research community. But that is not the right habit. That is because certain important things might have been lying under the experiments which have been failure. Right? You must have seen many examples. The failure in the experiments has led to many advancements in the research. So that might be the case. So every experiment should lead to a certain expected thing. Such kind of understanding we should not have as far as a researcher. We should not have that kind of understanding. So therefore, this kind of statistics, which is discarding the things which are not fitting into the expectation, should be avoided. This kind of another behavior of the researchers, you can see that first they think about writing the papers. Okay, and then, because basically if you see the timeline, then first is the finding the problem, second is the finding the right kind of methodology, third is the methods, fourth is the collection of data, fifth is the analysis of the data, sixth is the interpretation of data, findings from the data, and then comes the dissemination of the knowledge. But many researchers, they are very enthusiastic, and what they would like to start from top, not from the bottom. So if they are starting from the top, then they are interested in having many papers, more papers, more than the quota. So they want more and more number of papers. So first they write the paper and then they do the studies, right? So this kind of behavior is also not ethical, because then this researcher is saying that I already wrote the paper. That's why it is so hard to get the right data. So writing the paper first and then the data. I have seen many researchers. So they first plot the graph and then they convert the graph into tables. So again, this kind of behavior is not ethical. So ethics is the crux, is the core of the research. and we must be ethical all the time whenever dealing with the research. I was mentioning about the copy and paste culture, and therefore in the English dictionary there is a new word which has come up, that is called as googling. So googling is the synonyms, it is the synonym for the searching. So googling has become so dominant in research that many people these days, they only google. Even if they want to find out the research problem, then what they do is they go to google, and therefore there is a conception called as google guru. So google guru, so they believe that only Google can answer their queries. So Googling has become so predominant. You can see here that more and more patients are going to the internet for medical advice. So again, in the given today's scenario, if you see that if some symptoms are there, we just try to diagnose ourselves by going to the Google, and therefore this is not the correct kind of behavior, because correct approach. So to keep my practice going, I changed my name to Dr. Google. So this doctor is saying that, okay, so everybody is going to Google, why not I rename myself as Dr. Google? So researchers are also doing the same thing. If they want to find out the research problem, they won't look around, or they won't go to the society, they won't do the survey, but they will go to Google, and simply the problems which have been identified by some other researchers on the Google, they would like to take up those problems. So again, we should not be in this particular category, and therefore copy and paste culture is nowadays becoming very routine kind of things. And the first exercise, I will be talking about two exercises the editor is doing for shortlisting the paper or selection of paper. The first exercise of shortlisting the paper is to just check the plagiarism, just check the how much is the extent of copying the author has done. That is nowadays is the number one step, for the foremost step. And the second step is some kind of readability analysis. So whether the paper is readable or not. So that is the second analysis, or the second exercise the editors they have to do, or the referee of the paper has to do. The first thing is important because ethics are important, and the second thing is important because the business model is important. So both the things, the business model, because the journals should have wider circulation. If you want to maintain the metrics of the journal, then the circulation is a very important issue. So therefore, readability of the paper is important. And there are tools. I will be demonstrating few tools wherein whatever paper you have written, you can see it yourself whether the paper is readable or not. So there is a systematic science. At this point of time, I would like to again advise all of you that there is a very good book in this research methodology, and as far as the writing part is concerned. And this book is dealing with English for writing the research papers, because not only as a native author or something like that, we are finding it very difficult to write the papers in English. But the native English authors, they also find it very difficult to write papers in English. So it is better to follow some good resource. And this is a very good resource as far as writing the research papers is concerned. And I advise, because this book, I have seen that it is also available somewhere as a OER, Open Education Resources. This is a very good book for writing the research papers. So therefore, this book, I'll be just covering few important aspects which are covered in this book. The first important aspect is the planning and preparation. So how to plan the research, or how to, that part already we have covered. So what makes your research unique, or whenever you are writing the paper. Now we'll slowly go focus towards the writing part of the research. So whenever you are writing the papers, then what journals you should look for, or what are the standard phrases used in English or in research. That is also important. So what are the standard phrases? What should be the order of the words? That is important. How we can showcase that our research is unique. Okay, and what are the referee's expectations? Because after all, unless the referee approves your research, it won't come into the journal, or it won't be published. So therefore, if you are interested in publishing the research, you should also look at the expectations of the referees. So therefore, if you are very serious researcher and if you want to publish your papers, then the first thing you should think about why you want to publish your paper, whether it is the right time, whether your research is matured enough, whether you got the foolproof results of the research. Just in the back somewhere slides, we have seen that researchers are very enthusiastic before completion of the research itself to publish their papers. So we must think about whether it is the right time to publish the papers. So we should give ourselves the enough time to plan and write the paper. So whenever we write the manuscript of the paper, we must give enough time. And the most important thing is choose appropriate journal. So choosing the journal, now again in the few slides, I'll be showing you that there are ready-made technical tools, technology tools. So those tools, they will guide you how to choose the journal. So this is very important. So whenever you are interested in publishing in a particular journal, the first thing what one should do, so the advice which is given in this book is the most important thing is downloading the instruction for authors. So the part which we ignore, the part which we give least importance is the instruction for the authors. Actually, that is the most important part. So in this important part, what you should look for is the type of titles that are acceptable. You should at least go through few past back reviews, back articles, and you should see that what are the types of titles that are acceptable and whether the proposed title, whether our proposed manuscript that really fits into this kind of journal. The second thing you should see is structure of the paper. So how the papers are structured, the accepted papers are structured in this journal. The third thing is layout, like introduction. In the introduction, how many paragraphs are there? Whether there is a one long paragraph or short paragraph, few short paragraphs. Because generally, most of the journals, so there are journals which believes that the paragraph number 1 should be the paragraph for general audience. So general audience should get interested into article. The second paragraph should be for the mid-level researchers, like the doctoral students. And the third paragraph should be the researchers which are well established, like the scientists or the academicians. So in this way, the expectations are different. And these expectations, they are actually, you can see those expectations by carefully studying the research articles which are already published in the paper. Another important thing is, what is the structure of sections in the journal? What are the headings, subheadings, how it is organized, what is the style? Another important thing is use of passive rather than the personal style. So many times we say that I have done these experiments, or many times we say we have done this experiment. So what style really the journal is following? So that style is important. How to make citations? As I told you, that citations are very important in research because it is like giving due credit to other researchers. So how to make citations? Because there are different styles of citations, like APA is there, American Psychological Association, or there is MLA style is there. So whether your style of citation is proper or not, it is also important. And many times at the last page, the editor will send you a mail or something like that, saying that the citations should be in the proper style. How to arrange the bibliography? So bibliography is arranged in a alphabetical manner or in the manner in which it is cited in the paper. So that is again a part of the paper. Use of keywords. Now keywords are very important because if you want to publicize, if you want to popularize your research, then there are many search engines, and these search engines, they are categorizing your research, or they are actually putting forth that research in front of audience by using the keywords. So whenever the other research community, they will search your articles, those keywords, if they give, then automatically your article will come in forefront of them. So therefore, keywords are important. And not a major aspect, but still an important aspect is whether you are following an American or British spelling style. So the difference between yes and Z. So sometimes this also matters. And if you follow all these things, then your research paper can be published. So just to summarize, what you should look at is the type of paper, whether you want to write an original research paper, like some data is given and you have written the paper, or you are interested in the review kind of paper. So matured mid-level researchers, they go for review. So where review is important. And review also the challenges of plagiarism, because I have seen that there is a misconception that whenever you write the review, then you simply copy the things from different papers and you just place it in your paper. But that is not review. What is review is? Review is you should go through your paper, to those papers thoroughly, and you should have your own impressions regarding those papers, the content, and then only you can actually write a successful review. So in this way, there are so many kinds of research documentation, a systematic review or a position paper. These days, even you must have heard about the white papers. So many companies, they believe that white papers are more important than the papers in the journal. So many kind of papers are there. What is the subject? So what contemporary issues you are dealing with, whether it is original, innovative, or is it a controversial issue? So many times, even the controversial issues they are being dealt by the researchers so that the research will get popularity. Then the third important thing is the aim, clarity of the purpose. So what are the research objectives? So objectives are important. Then the methodology is important, whether the research is conducted, the methodology is ethical, or it is reproducible. Reproducibility is very important, because whatever we have done the experiments in the laboratory, the next time the other researchers, if they try the same experiment in their laboratories, the result should be same. So reproducibility adds to the credibility of the research team. So that's a very important thing. And then the results. So whatever results, whatever the hypothesis you have taken, or whatever objectives the researcher started with, whether those objectives are met, whether those objectives are fulfilled, so whether that is reflected in the results. So these things are seen in a research paper. And then the length of the paper, because you must have seen that many people, many researchers, what they do is they cram many ideas in one paper. So it is not the right approach. The right approach is you should have a single idea which is pursued in the single paper, rather than having multiple ideas in a single paper. And then it will lead to a paper with optimum size, because you know that there is a lot of economics behind publications. Whenever you publish a journal, then how many pages, and then what is the price of publishing? Because nowadays, even there is a philosophy, or there is a practice, something called as publish on demand. So whenever, and there are many e-journals now. So these people, the editors, the publishers, they are very much sensitive about the cost issues. So therefore, they will not encourage a paper which is more than few pages. So therefore, short paper or long papers. Those long paper will go through many referees. Okay, short paper will go through, possibly if you write a letter to editors, which is equivalent to a paper, only editor and one referee will go through the letters to editor. If you want a short paper, there will be two referees. If you want to write a long paper, there will be more than two referees. And then it will take a longer time to appear your paper in journal. So therefore, whenever we think about publishing a paper, we must think about what should be the optimum length of the paper. The style is important, like we are, or impersonal, the passive form. Very soon I'll be showing you that most of the researchers, they make a mistake of putting their sentences in passive tense or passive form. Okay, or it should be in active form, in fact. So subject should come first, so that there is less confusion, or there is less ambiguity as far as the documentation is concerned. These are some, like just now I told you, put the subject before the verb. Just one example I want to give you. For example, you can have a sentence like this. In the survey, participated 350 subjects. So 350 subject is more important. Okay. And this is coming at the later part of the sentence, which is not correct, which is delaying the understanding of the reader, the person who is reading your paper. So instead of that, if you write something like 350 subjects participated in the survey, because how many subjects, that is important. That should come in the beginning. Okay. Other example, where use several different methods in the experiments. Okay. Now, what is important here is several different methods have been used. So it can be reframed as several different methods were used in the experiment. Or here you can see here, among the factors that influence the choice of parameters are time and cost. So what is important is the factors are not important, or choice is not important. What is important is the time and cost is important. So you can reframe it as a time and cost are among the factors that influence the choice of parameters. So in summary, whenever we write such sentences, then we must put the subject before the verb. The subject is very important and it should be put before the verb, so that there is less delay in conveying what you want to say to the reader of the paper. Other mistakes you must have seen: avoid this kind of inserting parenthetical information between the subject and verb. For example, the result after the calculation has been made can be used to determine why. Sentence something like this. So instead of that, the parenthetical information in the middle, it can be put in the beginning. After the calculation has been made, the result can be used to determine why. Or the second sentence you can see, this sampling method, when it is possible, is useful because it allows. So instead of this, when this sampling method is possible, it allows us. Simple kind of avoiding the parenthetical information in between. So these kind of plain sentences are very much preferred by the referees, because you must keep it in mind that almost all the journals, they're not paying anything to referee. The referees, they are doing their duties as an additional work. And if they get a clear cut, without any flaw kind of English, then it is possible to make out what you want to say, what you want to convey. And therefore, such kind of plain English is generally preferred by the referee. Yet another example I want to give, and all these are taken from the book which I cited in the beginning of these slides. So another example is, for example, put the direct object before the indirect object. So you can see here this sentence. However, only for some cases this operation is defined. These cases are called. So what is important is operation is important. So you can reframe it as, however, this operation is only defined for some cases which are called. Or although in the above references, one can find algorithms for this kind of processing. So what is important? Algorithms are important. So although algorithms for this kind of processing are reported in the above references. So in this way, you have to put the object right before the indirect object. The direct object is very important. The object which you are dealing in your research, that is important. So that should come first, and later part can be the indirect object. A very important sentence we should mark is, many times we feel that if we write complicated sentences, then we are actually increasing the value of the research paper. But that is not the truth. Short sentences are not a sign of inelegance and superficiality. So we must remember that referees, the editors, the readers, they want a clear-cut idea regarding what you have documented. And therefore, if you write a very big sentence, a bulky sentence, a sentence with many complicated words, then it is not appreciated by the research audience. Therefore, short sentences are the need of the hour. So instead of writing a paragraph like this, a continuous sentence, we start somewhere here and it goes on endlessly, like it becomes a paragraph. So instead of that, you can divide this sentence into small sentences. Okay. And every sentence, because ideally, if you find a paragraph if you see the best research paper, ideal research paper, you can see that in a paragraph, how many sentences are there, and in one sentence, how many words are there. So you will see that, or you can find out, and you can see that almost all the sentences, those are having equal number of words or almost equal, right? So these kind of things increase the readability of the text. So this kind of practice will give your paper best citations, or it can be circulated widely amongst the research community. So therefore, this is important. Another thing is using the words, link words that compare and contrast, because in our research, we have to compare two things. Our research with the previous research groups, or if we are not following the arguments of the previous research group, then we want to contrast, right? So that can be done very systematically. That can be done by using the words like however, or it can be used by words like although, or it can be used like on the other hand, or whereas. So you can see here, one example is given here. So wherein the words like whereas, on the other hand, they have been very judiciously used. They have been very well placed. And this will give you a very good readability of your research papers. Mind well that plagiarism is important, and more important is also readability of the research paper. So both the things are important. And now you must be wondering, I know before many people they leave, I want to come to the very important part of this presentation. So you might be wondering that this is such a complicated thing. So writing a simple paper is such a very difficult thing. But very soon I will show you it's not that difficult. So if you follow simple tools, simple technological tools, then it is very easy to draft your research papers. So that's what I was talking about, speaking about. Here, total number of words, total sentences, the repetitions of keywords. So everything matters. How many full stops are there, for example? How many commas are there? How many semicolons are there? This really reflects the kind of writing you are doing in your research. So therefore, everything matters. So simply putting a comma or semicolon, it will spoil the entire meaning of the word. Again, very important thing is don't make the impersonal it the subject. Many papers you can see they start with the sentence it, like our examination papers. They start with why and what and how. Okay, so beyond that there are no questions. So in the same manner, even in the research papers, it is possible to do this. It is mandatory. So this is a kind of boring kind of narration you are putting in front of the research community. So instead of that, you can revise this as this may be due to, or this might be due to, or this could be due to, or this can be. So it this it can be avoided at so many places. Okay, and instead of that, these are called as modal verbs like might, need, should. So they will make the sentence very significant, and they will carry the real essence of your research idea. Not only that, it will also make your reading very interesting, and that's why many people they are interested in getting more citations of their paper. So what makes a paper more citable? The paper should be read by more number of people, and if you want that the paper should be read by more number of people, the readability of the paper is very important. And if you follow these norms, there are many norms like this. I have given some sample norms, but if you follow these norms, then it is possible to make your paper. These are some examples. I recommend that you should read that book, and this book is like a Bible of writing research paper. Now coming to the next part, which is very important. Here I'm slightly now going towards the technological tools. So so far what I have covered is might be little difficult, little complicated, and you'll be wondering that how to then write many papers in a small time frame like 3 years in a PhD, or if we want to have promotions, how one can write more number of papers on a book in a month or something like that. Ethically, that is important. So here, as I told you in the beginning of this session, that the most important part is to finding the right journal for your paper. So the match is very important. Whatever paper you have written and whatever journal, the focus area of the journal. So this can be done by different tools. So there is a tool, the Elsewhere has come out. So Elsewhere has come out with a tool called a journal finder tool. So if you just Google this tool, here the journal finder tool, you have to put a paragraph of abstract in the given window, and then the journal will give you suggestion. The tool will give you suggestions regarding the journal. It will come out with the list of the journals which are they are in very good agreement, or they are the kind of ideal match if you look at your content. So in this way, technology has really helping us, and if you follow this journal finder tool, then you can find out the right match for your paper, and then it will expedite publishing the paper, because if the right match is there. Otherwise what happens is, if you submit a paper, then you get a reply from the editor after a month itself that this paper is not suiting to the audience of the journal, or it is not in the thrust area of the journal. So therefore, foremost is find out the right journal for your paper. This is the window you can see. Just I have taken a screenshot, and this window, this is of course in the beta, it is in the testing phase, but it's a very good tool, and this tool will help you to match your content with the journal. So other digital tools are there. So as I told you that the productivity is also important. The speed is important. How many papers we are coming out is very important. Article count is important. Citation count is important. The H index is important. So these all things are important. This is called as the impact analysis. So impact analysis of a researcher is important. And for this, unless you increase the number of papers ethically in a qualitative manner, by caring about the quality, you will not be a superior researcher, or you will not be at the top of the research community. So therefore, digital tools are important. And here they explore the literature, there are tools, sharing the code and data, there are tools, or for all these, there are tools. We'll be focusing on these tools now. And for productivity, it is something like this. You can see this picture. This is you, a very good picture, just to illustrate this. This is your mentor, maybe your boss or your PhD guide. And this is you, your PhD. This is the thesis you can see. And you are trying to meet the deadline. This is the deadline. And you are trying to meet the deadline. Your mentor or your system would like to see to it that you must meet out this deadline in the given time. So therefore, if you want to meet out the deadline, if you want to catch this line, then what is important is the tools. The tools are really important. And if you make use of these tools, then you can achieve your target. So this is a good illustration what I got from the net. And this really illustrates that why tools, technology tools they have to be used in your research. So there are now different tools, right? So I think I would like to have some, let me see if I just can give some demos. I think participants are there. So here I would like to show you how to have a automated kind of research paper. So yeah. Actually, what I have done is, this is my writing lab, and this writing lab, whenever the students are entering, I'm giving them some exercise. I hope you can see the screen. Anybody can confirm? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I would like to have one name amongst you, one participant. Can I have one volunteer who would like to have his or her paper? I want simply one name. Okay.
Yes, sir. Shardul Wagh.
Shardul Wagh.
Yes.
Very good. So Shardul Wagh is interested in writing a paper. So I'll show you how Wagh, W or V?
It's W.
Shardul Wagh is interested in writing a paper. And whether it is so complicated, so far I have given a presentation, or it is very easy. Let me show you. So, okay. Just wait for a minute. Yes. This is Shardul Wagh's paper. Okay. So here you can see the Shardul Wagh has come out with a paper in mathematics. I don't know what is the background of Wagh, sir, but
it's biochemistry, sir.
Biochemistry. But see, the Shardul Wagh has come out with a paper, in a very nice paper, with everything. Like it starts with a good title, starts with his name, the abstract, then see introduction. He has written such a nice introduction. He started with the previous taken the reference. Then he has described about the problem. He has described about the other authors who have worked in this. Then the main results. He has given many definitions, many theorems. The third, this one, application is given in the probabilistic analysis. And to my surprise, he has really worked hard to come out with the mathematical treatment. You can see here that entire mathematical treatment is there, right? So this is what technology is. Okay, if you go till end, a big paper written in no time. Okay, see here at the end, if you see here, okay, here you can see that he has cited many references also. Okay, So this is something called as ghostwriting, okay, which is not ethical basically. So there are researchers who are interested in. There is a field called as bibliometrics. Bibliometrics is the study of the finding out the patterns in research publications. So what people there are many researchers working in this field, and they have come out with some tools, and these tools actually, as a matter of interest, what they did is they wrote these papers and they sent those papers to some conferences and journals. And to their surprise, those papers were accepted. Okay. And then what's important is that's why I'm covering this. The first and foremost part while using the technology is very important part is you must follow the ethics. Okay, because these kind of tools are available. There are tools for essay generations. There are tools for paper writing generations. You might see the advertisements on the web that publish a book in 24 hours, right? So nowadays, artificial intelligence, artificial neural networks, those are really penetrated very heavily in this field. And there are many tools nowadays available. And by using these tools, you can write paper in no time. You can publish a book in no time. You can deceive the referees, but that is not the right kind of attitude. So therefore, we must, whatever we are doing, the ethics are really important. So two things are very important whenever you are using technology tools. The first thing is ethics, and second and most important is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, why it is important? Because whenever you download a tool, that tool will ask you to become part of your Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. It will say that you make it a part of Microsoft Edge. But at the same time, there will be a very small declaration. And in that small declaration, which you agree without reading the declaration, it might say that this tool has access to all your friends, all your Gmail contacts, all your Google contacts. And from there, the hacking or the attack starts. So mind well, I'll be giving you examples of many tools. But whenever you are experimenting, the most important part is ethics, and second most important part is following the security norms. So security norms are more important. Otherwise, you will lose your data, and sometimes there will be a situation which is very difficult to handle. Now, I covered so many things about writing, that one should write in an active tense. It should not be passive tense. The subject should come first. I'll give you one demonstration. This is a package. This is a platform, slickwrite.com. So I'll be giving this presentation, forwarding this presentation to you. So I'm putting this slickwrite.com here. It makes your life very easy. Of course, I don't know whether my internet supports. Yeah, good. So Slickwrite is a platform which you can use for checking your grammar. Slickwrite is a platform wherein you can, first of all, grammar can be checked. You can have your very good writing style. Whatever I covered so far, that citation should be proper, the active tense is important, the subject should come first before the verb. So all these things. So if you have this particular tool, I will demonstrate to you this particular tool. This will give you very good things. And then, as I told you, this part is important from security aspect. Get the extension. So if you want to make it as a part of Chrome or Firefox, right, you must take care that this package is downloaded from a trustable source, because there will be so many packages. I'm not talking about this package, but there will be so many tools, and those tools, they claim that if you make them part of your browser, then your life becomes easy. But at the same time, you must take care of your security aspects. So this is a caution I'm giving you. So here, I'll show you one example. So I'm start writing. Okay. So I have this paragraph which I have taken from my paper. I'll show you. There is a paper which is sent by one of my student. Okay. So this is the introduction part. What I have done is, the students, they claim that this paper is written by taking a lot of care. So I want to see, as a guide, I want to see, other than the subject, whether the paper is really worth sending to the journal or not. Because as a guide, I am the first person to be convinced, and then only it is possible to send the paper to the journal. So let me put this Continue. See how it is and how technology helps you. See here. Now what the tool has pointed out. See, click here. You can see, I hope that you can read it. It is saying that this is a wordy or redundant phrase. That means the package is not happy with this page, with this phrase, right? So this can be avoided. This can be reframed. Let us come here. Starting words recycled in the paragraph. Okay, so you are starting with we, and again it is again coming the notion of we in the paragraph. So we here, so many places we are there. So this is not acceptable. The third, if you come here, adverb. Okay, click on this adverb. So what the tool is saying, adverbs are bad in small quantity. They are not bad in small quantities. But if you write adverb everywhere, like if you write once everywhere, like this, then it is not acceptable. Because if more than 5.5% of its words are adverbs, okay, then this is not good. Okay, so this is what the recommendation which is given by the tool. So here you can see, so wherever the tool has, see here, the tool has really pointed out that this is a passive version, passive voice. So passive voice is not acceptable in the articles because it makes a lot of confusion. It puts the subject at the end. So therefore, the passive voice should be converted into active voice, right? And there are ready-made technological tools which can convert the passive voice into active voice. So in this way, lot of see here, if you put here it has given explanation also. So what is the example? It is said that one day, right, passive voice will bring weakness to your prose. So wherever you are using passive voice, it is a kind of weakness because it is not giving the proper perception. Again, here the adverb is there. So in this way, what the tool has pointed out, that so many things, so many loopholes are there in this particular paragraph, one paragraph. And in this way, if you go analyzing the paragraphs and paragraph, you will come to know that what is the lacuna, what are the shortcomings in your paper. So these are some shortcomings. So if you see structure, okay, then structure also, I'm sure that, see, as far as the structure is concerned, the tool has indicated that this is a simple sentence of 11 words, okay, which is acceptable. This is a simple sentence of 9 words. As I told you, a thumb rule is in a paragraph, every sentence should have more or less equal number of words, right? Here and there, it's okay. But if you want to increase the readability, then the words have to be equal. So this is not the case. So here you can see complex sentence. Okay. So again, this is not recommended. You must make it simple sentence. Here, if you see, again, here it is complex sentence, big sentence. So big sentence can be fragmented into small sentences. So in this way, for everything, it will go on included. Here you can see compound complex sentence. So compound complex sentence, whereas you can see it's very difficult to make out the meaning of this. So whenever you use cluster or non-cluster indexes, it has root node, comma, the non-leaf nodes and leaf nodes. It must be converted into simple sentence. So in this way, it's such a good package, good tool, which will give you idea regarding how to make it simple. Now let me see these quotes. Okay, quotes, I think it's okay. Let me see vocabulary. So vocabulary wise, this is giving certain recommendations that here you can see. Yeah. So wherever red is there, that means this vocabulary is not in order, right? And we must take care so that this can be improved. So in this way, this is a very simple package which one can use so that one can improve the. You see here. Here again, it has given the recommendation whether the flow is proper or not. Okay. Then statistics. If you see how many words are there in this paragraph, 241 words. How many average word length? It is 4.88. What is estimated reading time? Now see, this parameter is very important. Estimated reading time. If you want to improve the readability of your paper, then the estimated reading time should be as less as possible, as small as possible, because this will enhance the readability of your paper. So see here, passive voice index. The score is given 41.19. Phrase index automated readability index. Okay, 9.46. Okay, so we'll see what is this grade 8. It is recommended. It comes in grade 8. What is the vocabulary variety? So this is again a very important aspect. So variety in vocabulary is very important because whenever we write, we first in the paragraph we say that this paper presents the studies regarding this. Then again in the second paragraph, again we say that this paper presents. So instead of present, we can say this paper reveals. In the third paragraph, again we say present. Now instead of reveals or present, we can say this depicts. In the fourth paragraph, or if at all required, we can, or conclusion part, we can say this paper portrays. We can say this paper showcases. We can say this paper put forth. So many synonyms are there. So this gives you the variety in terms of vocabulary. So vocabulary variety is very important to increase the readability, because the second most important aspect in research publication is the variety of vocabulary or the readability index. So readability index is very important. So here you can see the entire analysis is given. How many sentences, average sentence length. So all these things are given. Okay. So this will really help you if you follow this, that this will really help you to improve your English as far as the research paper writing is concerned. And if you want to make it publishable, then this is important. The other, I was talking about readability. Let me show you how readability is important. So this is one tool. So here, just giving this readability. This is a tool which will show you whether your paper is readable or not. Here it is written greater readability, better engagement, more conversations. So readability is important. So test your readability. Let me test it. So I'm testing it. So whatever text I had taken, I'm giving here the same text. Sorry, this is not the text. I'm going to Word. Okay, this is my paper. Let me give. Okay, the same text I'm giving for readability. So I have posted the entire text. Okay, you can see here it has indicated spelling mistakes. Here, possible punctuation error, it has indicated. Okay, here again some issue, very long sentence, so that it is shown. So it is not readable at all. Again, very long sentence. So many problems here. If you see, it is long word effectiveness. So whether we can have a short, small word. So this entire text, whatever I have copied, it has classified into grade B. Okay, what is grade B? Here you can see that grade B. So readable rating is grade B, and then grade B is not good. That I can tell you. So, and there are some different grades. It has given. It has given 25 issues in this simple paragraph. So issues such as spelling issues are there, grammar issues are there, sentences having more syllables, issues regarding words having more syllables, passive count, adverb count, glitch count, text density issues. So mind well, whenever you send your paper to any journal, they have these tools. Whatever I'm showing you is just a, you can say, trial version of these tools, but they have foolproof tools. And if you don't follow the right, the proper norms of English, the proper norms of documentation, then your paper will be rejected without going to the reference. Because at first place, as I told you, the first test is plagiarism. If it is more than 10% or something, the paper will be straight away rejected. It will be sent back to you. And the second thing is important is readability. So if your paper is not readable, readability is considered a very important aspect of publishing your paper. It will be sent back straight away to the author to improve. The first comment will be your paper writing is very poor, your English is very poor, there are many grammatical mistakes. And you will wonder that within one day after sending the paper, how the editor has came to know about the grammar and English, because these tools are there with the editors, so they can make out whether your paper is readable or not. Then one more exercise, one more tool I can take is paraphrasing. Actually, I don't have much time. Otherwise, I have shown you what is plagiarism, right? So before that, maybe 5 minutes I can spend on plagiarism. But before that, there is one more very good tool which is given by Manchester University. That is academic phrase bank. I'll show you this tool. So this is a project which is started by an eminent academician, and this project is all about the phrase bank. Phrase bank is we know what is bank or our commercial banks. So it is all about currency. But here we are talking about the banks, the phrases in our research papers. So it is a general resource for academic writers. Okay, here you can get to know regarding what are the synonyms, how many phrases, what kind of phrases can be used. So for example, you might remember that I was talking about compare and contrast. So you are comparing with the other research group and you are contrasting, opposing the other research group. So compare and contrast. What kind of phrases can be used? Okay. So comparing and contrast is regarding the similarities and differences in two things. How one can very effectively point out the similarities and differences. So here if you click, many examples are given. X is different from Y in number of respects. So these are the standard phrases. I was talking about your research paper should have standard phrases. So these are the standard phrases the referee will expect in your research paper. So here you can see, for example, here, Jones 2013 found dramatic differences in the rate of decline X between Y and Z. Okay. So if you have this kind of writing style in your paper, then your paper is well accepted by the referees. See here. So it starts with a citation and then it deals with the differences and comparison aspects and so on. So here you can see, so like it is comparing two genders, right? So defining the term. Suppose if you in your paper you want to define the term, okay. So indicating difficulties in defining a term. If you want to see this, then X is a contested term. X is rather nebulous term. X is challenging to define because. So in this way, you can have so many synonyms. Okay, you can have so many alternatives you have so that you can put this in your paper. So these kind of tools, how they help you, you get to know that how you can frame your sentences in your research paper. How one can put like this so that it is a well acceptable phrase in your research paper. And if you have this kind of phrases, then see here, specifying the terms that are used in an essay or thesis. Again, there are different norms are there. In this way, if you want to make your reading interesting without wasting much time, without wasting much energy, then these tools are with you. And these tools will make your life very, very easy. And they will improve your English like anything. And they will give you more publications also. Now, one more tool I want to, Thesaurus. Thesaurus is also very valuable tool. So if you put this tool, now this is a very valuable tool that I found and I have been using in my writing also. So do you know which one is a synonym for use? Whether it is a felicitate, exalt, exploit, all these are synonyms, but their shades of meanings are different. So whenever you are using this in your word, in your sentence, the shades of meanings are different. So the shades of meanings, one should know about this. So if you go here, meanings, okay, meanings, and if you click here, improve your writing, then here everything is there. By the way, I want to also recommend one more tool. That's Grammarly. Grammarly is a very, very good tool. And if you use Grammarly, if you can just Google Grammarly, I wanted to give a demo also, but somehow it was not working today when I tried the tool. Otherwise, if you use Grammarly, and the best part of Grammarly is that you can make it a part of your email also. So whenever you are writing a mail, the Grammarly will automatically go through your mail and it will suggest certain changes whenever you are writing that mail, so that whatever you intend to convey, the meaning will be conveyed to the mail, or the meaning will be conveyed to the paper. So this tool is also like Grammarly, and this can be used in your improving your writing. There are many things like this. Okay. But one most important thing, the plagiarism is also important. So I want to devote some time on plagiarism. By the way, the audience can suggest me if they want something else. I can, because I have so many slides and there are many dimensions of this talk. So I can customize my talk within no time actually. Any suggestions, please? Any suggestions? Any feedback? Because I can't see you. So if you can give me feedback regarding the talk, or in which direction I should customize, then I can do that. I think I have this chat window. In chat window, there are many suggestions. Please tell us about plagiarism, writing the references. Okay, plagiarism. Okay. Okay. So thank you. So many people have. I'm very happy. Many people have appreciated my talk. Well,
Sir, go.
Yeah, please.
Sir, go with the plagiarism.
Okay.
You have again 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Again
I have
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let me go very quickly. These are all the tools. I will forward this presentation to all of you. The 252 participants are there. So I'll make it a point to forward this presentation so that it's very useful. So there are many examples now. I want to go through this. Okay. So most important thing about plagiarism. You must have heard about the tools called as Turnitin, or there are other tools also. Even Urkund is there. There is a tool called as Urkund, which I have been using, and UGC has recommended that tool. How the plagiarism is detected, that we should know first. This is active or passive voice. Just a minute. Let me come to this. Okay, this is one example I wanted to give. I'll cover this example and then I'll come to plagiarism. Just few minutes. So sometimes what it so happens that I was talking about professional elegancy of writing the paper. This is one example. In our electronics and computer science, there is a apex body called as IEEE. This is a funny example. A very simple statement, 1 + 1 = 2. I'm sure you will agree with me that this kind of paper is not acceptable. 1 + 1 = 2. It's a very simple fact that I am just placing in front of you. 1 + 1 = 2. Not at all acceptable. It is just a straightforward fact. But you can modify this. You know that natural logarithm of E is equal to 1. You also know that sin square p plus cos square p is equal to 1. You also know that summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity half raised to n is equal to 2. Okay. So our first part here was 1 + 1 = 2. Now this one and this one can be replaced. So this one is this one is this, and this 2 is this. So sum of this and this is equal to this. Okay. So 1 + 1 = 2. Natural logarithm of E plus sin square p plus cos square p. So this is 1. This total is 1. This is 2. So this is 1 + 1, 2 is equal to 2. So here the simple fact has become complicated. Now going further, cos hyperfunction of q into the square root of 1 minus tan h square of q is equal to 1. This is also we know. E is equal to limit of z tending to infinity 1 plus 1 upon z raised to z is equal to E. This we know. So we can substitute this in this. See, the initial, it was 1 + 1 = 2. This is 1, this is 1, this is 2. Now we are replacing E by this. We have put this as same. This is replaced by summation of this, right? It has become a fairly complicated. Now again, 0 factorial is equal to 1. And if you talk in terms of matrix, then transpose of matrix and inverse of transpose is equal to 0. Let us put it in the expressions. You can see here. So let us put it here. So our final expression, which was as simple as 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, has become complicated as this. Okay. So I want to put a straightforward question to all of you, whether this is a professional elegancy or whether it is some kind of deceiving because many researchers, they have a habit of making the things complicated. Okay, so 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 has been complicated in such a way. So you decide yourself. I just left it to you that whether this is a good practice. So let me come to, I have covered this, sleek writing. Readability is also, there are all these formulas are there. So this is also I covered. Okay, ethics and plagiarism. This is the best thing I want to put in front of you. What is ethics and what is plagiarism? Or the example just now I covered. It is the best example to suit this scenario. The most beautiful feeling in the world. What is this most beautiful feeling? When you try to look at your friend and you find that your friend is already looking at you. When this happens, probably this happens in examination hall because you are solving a paper. I want to know what is plagiarism, how to avoid plagiarism. I want to know what is elegancy in writing the paper. And you are also looking at me, what is elegancy and what is writing paper. So this kind of situation is there as far as ethics and plagiarism is concerned. And therefore, there are different notions regarding the scientific misconduct. So misconduct or plagiarism is just a small part of scientific misconduct. But the misconduct goes in a big way. It is fabrication. Without doing the experiment, you are putting it that you have done the experiment. Falsification, that means the false fact. The one example we have seen that whatever is not fitting into straight line, we want to discard it. So that is falsification. Plagiarism in proposing, performing, or reviewing the research. So plagiarism is more than copy and paste. People think that if you copy something and paste it, then it is plagiarism, but it is more than that. There is something called as idea plagiarism. Idea plagiarism means stealing the idea and putting it in your own words without citing. That is also a plagiarism. Or there are too many citations. For example, you are writing a literature review, and you are taking the paragraphs from different papers, and you are giving the citations. So what you claim is that is not a plagiarism, but it is plagiarism. Why it is plagiarism? Because you are taking the text for so many papers for your good, because you want to claim that paper for your promotion, or you want to claim that paper in your resume, biodata. You want to claim that you have published this book, which is a copy and paste of 1,000 books or 1,000 papers. So it is a plagiarism. So therefore, I would say that plagiarism comes in a different format. It is not merely copy and paste. If you want to avoid plagiarism, it is said that you must cite, and there are different citations styles actually, and there are technological tools for giving proper citations. There is a tool called as citation machine. If you just Google citation machine, you can see that how to cite in proper style. But still, that is also a plagiarism, because you are taking the text from so many things and you are trying to prove that whatever you have written is your own paper without your own impressions. So therefore, it is a plagiarism, and it comes under scientific misconduct. So in this way, misconduct or fabrication or falsification is all in plagiarism. Even if you don't do your ethics in research. So what was done in Germany during Hitler's time, the experiments on human being, so those are not ethical. Again, this is a scientific misconduct. So this is also comes under misconduct. So scientific misconduct is a broader area, and plagiarism is just a small part of this broader area. So plagiarism is there, using the ideas, writing, drawings. Fabrication and falsification is there. Non-publication of data, also called as cooking the data. I told you that something which is not fitting into the straight line behavior, you are not publishing the data. That is also misconduct. You must publish whatever the data you are getting. Faulty data getting procedures. This comes whenever the sampling takes place. So sampling not done properly, stratified sampling basically. The strata the strata has to be properly done. So that is also a misconduct. Poor data storage and retention. It so happens that it's working now, and after 1 month, your results are not reproducible. So again, that is poor data storage, because your notebook in which you are writing the readings, gone are those days of notebook writing, but at least on laptop, whatever you are storing, that should be retained at least for 1 year or 2 years. So whenever there will be inquiry from other research colleagues, you must be able to show it to them that whatever readings you got. So that is a good practice. That is the healthy practice for data storage and retention. Misleading authorship. Now, this is a very serious issue in academics. Actually, you will see that technicians do not necessarily become joint authors. You are taking the X-ray from a common facility center and you are putting technician's name as an author. So that is not correct, because it is just a technician. They are doing their job and you are paying for that, or somebody is paying for that. Authorship should involve only those who contribute directly. So this is a very big issue in academics. You will see that many people, they want their name, many guides, without reading the paper. They want to be part of that paper. So this practice is not at all ethical. It is as bad as plagiarism. Okay. So discuss authorship before the project. So you must discuss that, so that you will find that nowadays many journals, they would like to know that what is the contribution of each author in a paper, right? And they would like to get the percentage, 10%, 20%, 50%. How much is the extent of contribution of every author in that paper? So therefore, scientific dishonesty. These are some examples. So different ways, explain digestive system. So like this, what is the chemical? So some examples are things like this. Because chemistry says that concentration decreases on adding water, something like this. Or losing weight doesn't seem to be working, so I am going to concentrate on getting taller. So these are some examples of falsification of the facts. So whatever facts are there that you want to falsify. Now, one most important aspect I want to tell you, that the packages like the Urkun or Turnitin, what they do, they check the sequence of the words. So there is a limit that if the words in sequence, if there are 3 words, other than common words like it or I or we, these are common words. But other than that, if 3 or 4 words, they are coming in succession, then they will indicate that sentence as a plagiarized sentence. So if you want to avoid plagiarism, first thing is that your writing should be your own writing, so that those sequence of words won't be repeated. The second thing is that you should learn to break the sequence. How to break the sequence? By using synonyms. So the best tool I would like to recommend is the paraphrasing tool. So paraphrasing will give you some solution regarding plagiarism. I'll just demonstrate in a minute before stopping my session. So here, this is the paraphrasing tool. And see here, here I want to put something. No, not this. I want to put the earlier this text which is copied, and I'm putting it here. Okay. Now I am paraphrasing. See, after some time, yeah, it is doing the work. So after some time, what you can see, that whatever text is there in this window, the text is rephrased. The sentences are changed. The words are changed. Okay, the machine is doing, but this is all done by the machine, because there is intelligence in the machine and there is a repository of the words, so that all the words are replaced, right? But here you must take care, because some of the words, those words, because this is done by machine, there is no human intervention. So this might give you a false meaning. Here you can see there are several ways to measure the output of a database. So the machine has changed the sentence. There are several ways to leave the output of a database. So this is not acceptable. Okay. Here we should analyze its overall effectiveness. We should always analyze its overall effectiveness. So in this way, here the machine has changed, because the machine has felt that this was not the right construct. So it is changed. Okay. Now here, so many people will query the database at once. Such a lot of people will query the database without delay. So, okay, again, this is not acceptable. So in this way, here, even in the paraphrasing, we must take care that the human intervention is important, and this is a then and then only the plagiarism. And plagiarism, the best thing is you must cite, but as I told you, the citation should not be in such a order that everything is cited. So this is there are many slides on plagiarism. Plagiarism, copyright, these are all important issues. So let me come to, I hope I have covered everything. So let me come to conclusion part. So conclusion, I want to share with you that what kind of researchers we want to nurture or what kind of research we want to construct. So gone are the days having T-shaped research. In T-shaped research, it is only depth in one domain. But now in the coming time or in this era, we want a researcher, modern researcher, is pie-shaped. So pie-shaped, the domain should be thorough as well as the other competency in other domains, because we are talking about the interdisciplinary, we are talking about the transdisciplinary. So in interdisciplinary, this is not acceptable. T-type researcher is not acceptable, only depth in one area. So this is the depth of knowledge and breadth of knowledge. So we want to nurture a researcher which is having depth of knowledge is okay, but breadth of knowledge should also be there, right? So both the things are important. And in future, or whenever we are guiding our students, we should look at the pie kind of researchers rather than the T-shaped researchers. So, and as a conclusion, I want to share with you that this was just a glimpse of work we have been doing in research, but I have many things to share, like semi-automatic research documentation, wherein the artificial intelligence, artificial neural networks, tools are there. We have made a package, and most of the tools are open source tools, so they won't cost much. And second thing is that this will really give the right balance between the quality and quantity, following the ethics. Ethics are important, quality is important, and quantity is important. So please visit my ResearchGate. Please get in touch with me on my ResearchGate. So on WhatsApp or on Facebook, we send a lot of invitations as a friend. But as a research community, this is a forum of ResearchGate, wherein you will see a lot of advantages. So please visit this researchgate.net and then send me invitation, and I can add you. You can follow me, and then you will automatically come to know what kind of work we are pursuing as a research group. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So I would like to stop here, and I would like to give the control to the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamath sir, for sharing valuable information with all of us and guiding us regarding copyright, Purdue writing, funding agencies, plagiarism, and ethics of research and publication. Now the session is open for questioning. If anybody wants to ask questions, please unmute and ask your questions or write in chat box.
Kamath sir, take your presentation. Kamath sir.
Yeah, please.
Presentation जरा काढून घ्या तुमचं जरा म्हणजे.
हाँ sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention, Dr. Pabrekar sir and Dr. Joshi sir, they are real motivators for all this presentation, because they have been following the things and they are doing really good work for all of us.
Thank you, Dr. Kamath. The thing is that all the participants have listened to one of the research person for 4 days continuously. That was any content development and all. And today we have invited you, especially in regard to the research methodology, and you are also given the highlights on different kind of things, right?
Yes.
There are of course participants who are very keen to know, and I could see that you are nicely explained about the plagiarism also, right? My earnest request to all my participants, you can ask n number of questions to Professor Kamath. Please continue. Please start. Yeah, Madam Vaishali, please, if you have received some question, please start asking.
Yes, sir. Yes, anybody wants to ask some question?
I would like to share in the chat window, many questions I have read.
Why don't you take it out?
Yeah. So one by one, they want to have my presentation. So I'll be sharing my presentation through RUSA office. So everything will be with Dr. Pabrikar sir, and he will be sharing the presentation because it's free and it should be useful to all. So that is the one. Sandhya Gupta madam. Yeah, Sandhya Gupta madam, she is interested to know how one can remove the self-plagiarism, because when working in particular area, they cannot change the theory, right? So see, madam, the pertinent question you have asked. So self-plagiarism comes in two ways. The first way is the first possible manner is that whatever paper you have written and the same paper you have put it in as it is in your thesis, PhD thesis, and if you have given your PhD thesis for plagiarism check, then it might happen that whatever your paper, it has been shown as a plagiarized. So plagiarism is you need to justify. The first thing is that you need to justify that is your own paper, right? That is one thing. The second thing is there are some delimiters. If you just analyze how the plagiarism packages are made, actually how they are actually built, then there are some delimiters. So what is delimiter? Whatever you put in double quote, that won't be checked by the plagiarism package. Whatever you put as an image, the plagiarism package won't be able to make out, right? But putting it as an image is an unethical practice. Many people have seen that they put it as an image so that the plagiarism package should not detect, but that is an unethical package. What you can do is you can simply put it in double quote so that the self-plagiarism can be taken care. The third thing, very important, is actually scientific experts or science experts, they advise or they recommend that the definitions and basic theorems should not be the part of the thesis, because it is presumed that all these things have already been known to the research community. So only the reference should come. So this way you can avoid the self-plagiarism. Yes, madam.
Sir, there is one question from Sharda Gaur. Yeah.
Continue my question again.
Why don't you request that participant to, you have to unmute that particular participant. Vaishali madam.
Yeah, I have already declared, sir, but once again, if anybody wants, please unmute.
No, but you could not read the question what we're referring right now.
Hello.
Yeah.
Please read that question.
Hello, may I ask a question, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, it becomes a major concern in methodology. How do you write methodology in new words? So plagiarism check shows it as a plagiarized methodology, because methodology of certain things is uniform right across the subject. So how do you take care of that particular issue, sir?
Yeah, this is something to do with the psyche of researchers. The methodology part, as I said, suppose I'm preparing some compound in chemistry, right? And I'm following some method like oxalic precursor route. Now, oxalic precursor route is a very well-known methodology which is in practice for years together. So there is no need to give oxalic precursor route methodology in your thesis. What you should do is you should actually cite the reference regarding oxalic precursor methodology route, and you must focus on your compounds, right? So that's what is recommended. That if you just compare the PhD thesis of many universities, the chapter number 1 or chapter number 1 will be almost common. So that is not a good practice. So you must customize even auxiliary precursor route, the methodology with respect to your subject. That is quite possible.
Okay.
I hope I have given
yes,
right.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Maninder madam, if the question is, answer is not clear, you can ask sub questions, no problem.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, I just wanted to ask you this. Say, for example, in my subject, there is
a subject. Why don't you mention the subject?
Yes.
I am from microbiology.
Okay.
And sir, in my subject, we have this, the isolation of whatever organism was done using this method. So now the word isolation was done using this method is going to remain same. So I have had this major concern, especially with certain domains of plagiarism. So I just wanted to know.
Yeah. That's, you are really pointed out a very correct thing. Actually, the person who is checking the plagiarism is very important. Now, for example, isolation is a common word as far as the microbiology is concerned. Okay, so what the person should do, the expert should do, he should put that word as a common word, isolation.
Okay.
That word should not be counted as the word under plagiarized database. Okay, so there is a provision in the plagiarism package that you can classify that word under common word, like is, was. So isolation is just like is, was. Okay. But you should instruct your authorities, the university authorities, or the person who is the best thing would be, if possible, you can arrange a session from Implement. Implement is a body which is dealing with these things. Okay.
Sure, sir.
There is question from Kiran Bhatti. Please explain about copyright regarding YouTube.
Copyright of YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. So copyright is a very big thing, but I would like to cite, I would like to quote the fair use clause. So what is the fair use clause? So what you must have done, you must have seen in my presentation that I have copied some part of the book, right, as it is, right? So this is allowed if I cite the source. You must have seen, at least in my presentation, 3 times I have made a mention of the book from which I have taken the text. Okay. The second thing is that I am doing this for a noble cause. Okay. This is for the betterment of academicians, which is called as the fair use clause in the Copyright Act. So fair use clause is important. I am not exploiting any commercial advantage out of this. I am no way, I am saying that you don't read that book. You must have seen that I have not copied everything. What I have done is I have copied only to the extent of 10% or 5%. So actually I am helping the author to publish or popularize his book, okay, which is very much required. So all these things comes under fair use clause. So if you are doing this, then it is allowed. There is no, you should not worry about the copyright. But the thing is, the photocopying, I won't say xeroxing, because xerox is again word which is not allowed and which comes under copyright violation. Photocopying as it is not allowed. Photocopying or copying for the commercial advantage is not allowed. Claiming that whatever has been done by other as if it is yours is not allowed. So these are all clauses comes under fair use clause.
Good.
Another question from Anup Kumar Srivastav regarding auto paper writing software. Can you name few similar software or website?
There are many. Actually, if you have seen my Word document, I have given this. And Google Guru is there always. So you can put a query in Google. But it's not good to do that. But only you can take the advantage, the sentence construction. You will get very fantastic sentence constructions in the software. So you can pick up those sentence constructions and you can customize for your own purpose. Because see, English is not our native language. So I need some assistance. So those packages are good for giving assistance, but they should not be used in toto. Complete thing should not be copied.
Dr. Kamath, I'm so impressed by your presentation, and when I'm listening to all the questions raised by the new generation, we are already completed 2 decades of the 21st century, right? And I know it took me back almost 40 years back. I received my PhD in the year 1983, right? And that time these things were not available at all. Yeah. I mean, that those days we were doing the references only by going actually to the library, right? In a big library like British Council Library or ICT Library. And we used to do research survey, what you call literature survey, almost for a period of 1 year. Now everything is available on the one click of button. And still people would like to go for the copying the things. I will be happy if you can just guide all these our next generation. I mean, almost everybody is PhD holder. They are already set and NET qualified. They are producing a number of result papers, international level kind of thing. And I know because I have seen you and I have seen your approach towards research kind of thing. My appeal to you that please guide our young teachers who are going to be who will be taking the care of the national new education policy now. Because the RUSA Maharashtra is going to organize a number of webinars on understanding the new policy now. That is what we are preparing nowadays. So Dr. Kamath will be requiring your help also for that.
I'm there, yes.
Hello.
The thing is, actually, RUSA is doing a lot of good quality initiatives, and this is part of the quality initiative, and this is very much required. in the era of artificial intelligence. Yeah, please. There is some question, I think.
Yeah,
Hello.
Dr. Gaur would like to say something.
Dr. Professor Kamath just mentioned in the end some software about automatic paper writing. Can he enlighten more little bit about that? I mean, also an old timer, PhD in 1975.
I can understand. I can understand. So nice of you. I mean, you are senior to me. Thank you. Nice continuation. Yeah, Kamath, so please, because we would like to know that would have been in today's generation, we would have got a paper documentary written by her.
At that time, very few hard copies are available to you.
Yes.
Gaur Saab.
Yes,
Gaur Saab. I just would like to give a remark on your question that your brain, as an experienced researcher, and the knowledge you have gained through hardships for so many years has been imitated in terms of software, and it is called as artificial intelligence or artificial neural network. It is nothing new. The imitation of your brain as an experienced person, or Dr. Pavliker's brain, because we have gone through so many hardships and we have learned so many things by trial and error. The hardships have made us to learn so many things, and that is a valuable experience we have gained. And now this experience might be lost if a person is no more. So instead of that, how to preserve that experience? So that's very important, because see, now the new generation, mostly after COVID era, they might not be able to expose to the kind of days what you and me experienced.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So preserving this is very important. This is a heritage, and this is possible with a discipline called as artificial intelligence or artificial neural network.
Dr. Kamath,
yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have one more question to you, because I know that you have also worked as an in-charge librarian for the great Shivaji University, right? And you are also now the director of different kind of thing. I will be happy, the references which are readily available. I mean, if you can focus some light on regard to there are a number of different high-level libraries are available, right? How one can make use of those library kind of thing,
Yes, it's a very good question. It's actually
we call it that it is an information science, right?
Yes. Actually, the thing is, the web-based scientific assistant of a researcher is a need of the day. So I just wanted to point out, in my Word document, there is a tool called as Zotero. So if you install Zotero and if you make it as a part of your Google Chrome extension or Microsoft Edge extension, okay, then whatever you are doing, the browsing part, the scientific, for example, if you are going through Google Chrome, Google Scholar, and whatever paper you find it interesting, you can automatically classify under Zotero. And then your bibliography will be ready. Actually, what mistake students are doing, they write bibliography at the end. Actually, the bibliography should start from the day they register themselves as a PhD scholar. Okay, from the day one, the paper number one they are going through, it should automatically come in the bibliography. What they do at the time of writing thesis, after 3 years or 4 years, they will try to find out everything, and then they will write the bibliography at the end from somewhere. So that is not the correct approach. The problem, the research should evolve with the time. Okay. It can beautifully evolve if you follow the tools like Zotero. So that day number one, the day you started searching the problem, you start getting the references and they are in order. Then your writing becomes easy. It will be flawless. It will be smooth. It will be readable. So all these aspects are possible.
My question, you are not answer my question, Dr. Kamath. How will you design a program or to attract our teachers to library? Because I observed that this is our observation, not that I'm talking against anybody, but I observed that the teachers going to library is a very rare phenomenon nowadays.
Yes.
So
actually, that is the other way around. Libraries are failing to attract the teachers. Yeah. So because the knowledge perception style of the researchers have changed. The researcher would like to, because earlier days what we used to do is we used to read a complete book, right? And then we used to conclude something. But nowadays, the researcher, the digital born researcher, they are not interested in reading a complete book. They would like to read only that part of the book which makes them, which is interesting for them or which is of their use. So they would like to have many ebooks, and then they get to know the different parts in the ebooks which is of their interest, and then they would like to compare and contrast. Okay, so for this there is something called as data harvesting. technique. So data harvesting is not possible with the traditional techniques like reading the print books. It is possible with having the e-resources more in number and then getting the keywords, and then it is something called as metadata harvesting,
Okay.
which has been inculcated in almost all the packages these days. Like Facebook is doing the same thing. They present to you whatever you want. Okay, so the same way it should be done, because there are packages which are doing this.
Anybody other have any questions, please? Because it should not happen that I only go on asking question. Anybody from the participant, please continue. I could see that Dr. Monica Jain would like to ask something. Is it so? Please continue, madam.
There's one question from Swarna Ranpise.
Huh?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
Ranpise.
Ask your question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I wanted to ask related to authorship.
Hmm.
How the journals accept different authorship, means to place the name in first or in last or in between, first, second, third. So how different journals have this criteria set?
Yes. As a thumb rule, I would recommend that when you start your research career, you should follow the same pattern. Like I am following Kamath RK or Rajnish Kamath. So whatever one pattern. But it so happens that when we start our research, we are not so matured that we follow different patterns. So in that case, the search engines like Scopus, for example, so they have a provision to have a Boolean OR. There is something called as Boolean OR. So you can have Kamath RK or Rajnish Kamath or RK Kamath, whatever is there, they will find out your publications. The same thing is true in case of the latest platforms like ResearchGate. If you go to ResearchGate, it will ask you in the first place that RK Kamath is whether it is same as Rajnish Kamath or whether it is same as RK Kamath. Okay, so once they get this answer, yes, then they will classify all those papers automatically under your name, so that it doesn't matter actually how you sequence the words as far as your name is concerned.
Kabir, Vaishali madam, there are two participants who have raised their hands. Please find out them.
One question is from Suvarna Ranpise. Can you guide on reliability of tool?
Reliability of the tool.
Repeat the question.
Can you guide on reliability of tool?
Yeah, more than reliability, I recommend that cybersecurity aspect is very important. I wouldn't have given you this presentation. The last 2 days I was offline only because of this issue. Because if you are habituated with adding so many things to your Chrome extension, so the Chrome, not only Chrome, but anything, if the source is not reliable, then it might hack your system or it might take your all Google contacts. So security aspect is very important. Whenever you are, and this is especially true in case of mobile apps. So whenever you are downloading a mobile, because nowadays there are many mobile apps for research. So you must take care because the app, what it is sharing. So that's very important.
Yeah,
Kiran Vajpayee wants, how can I get the copyright for my own YouTube channel?
There is a procedure. There is a copyright form is there. So if you want, I can share with you that copyright form. After the session, you can write to me, Google my name, you will get my email ID. And you just write to me. I can send you the form, how to file the copyright. By default, whatever has been created by us comes under copyright. Okay, unless otherwise it is challenged. Okay. If I claim something that it is mine, and if somebody challenges that it is not mine, then comes the copyright violation. Otherwise, by default, we are holding the copyright of our own material, but it's better to register under the Copyright Act.
Amisha Rindani wants to ask question. She raised her hand.
Yeah, hello sir. My question is that how do you identify whether the journal is predatory? Because,
loudly. Amishi, loudly.
My question is, how do you identify whether the journal is predatory, other than paying?
Very good question. Predatory is a nuisance nowadays. I don't want to mention the name of any journal or any publisher, but you go by UGC Care journal list. That is number one. You go by the Scopus journals, the Web of Science journals. So there are these 2-3 agencies. Thomson ISI. Thomson ISI is important. So you check whether your journal is coming under Thomson ISI. It is very easy. You can put the query in Thomson ISI. Then second is, as I said, the other platform, Scopus, is also from there. Also, you can find out whether the journal comes under Scopus classified. And then JGate is also there. So these 2-3 platforms, and the most important is recently the UGC care list has been updated. Okay, so UGC care, you can take it as a standard because UGC is our ethics body. So whatever they have, that we can standard.
Vaishali madam, Archana Pandey would like to ask question.
Archana Pandey madam wants to ask question. Yes, Archana Pandey ma'am, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Thank you for a very informative session. Sir, my question is, sir, suppose if we publish a research paper in a reputed journal with a good impact factor, and suppose after few years, if the UGC doesn't recognize that journal, so then in that case, then what can a researcher do?
Yeah.
Because UGC keeps on updating its journal list, sir.
That's right. But for the promotion, if you are perhaps you are interested in promotion aspects or something, so for that reason, you can claim that for that particular year, the journal was listed under UGC care. It has happened this, that was there in the list and it has been changed, updated or removed afterwards. So for that particular year, for your API score or for this one, in my opinion, you can claim that.
Yeah, you are right, sir. You are right. It is
for that year.
applicable. Yes.
Sir, very sorry to interrupt.
Then Benson Abraham.
Excuse me, sir. Timing of this session is set to 6:30. Only 5 minutes are left.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Sir, may I ask
Within
a
which
question?
we have
I
to
am
wind
unable
up.
to raise a hand.
No, Vaishali madam, I agree. What you do, you ask these people to write the questions on the chat box, and you can ask them to write the questions to your principal, and then we'll send it to Professor Kamath.
Yes,
He will answer that.
Yes.
Let us sum up the thing. Over to you, Vaishali madam. Daikar sir.
Yes, Vaishali madam. Vaishali madam.
नाही तुम्ही घ्या पण त्यांचं काही कनेक्शन प्रॉब्लेम दिसतोय. Daikar sir, continue.
Hello. Yes, sir. It's my immense pleasure to be here. Called for me for the concluding remarks on highly motivated presentation of Dr. Kamath sir, Head Department of Computer Science, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Nowadays, there are so many programs launched by different organizations of government for innovation and research. Dr. Kamath sir rightly selected the topic at the right time. Sir has started his talk with new Purdue Writing Lab, that is a research writing laboratory. Mostly during research, there is a problem of fund. Sir has explained well how to get the fund. There is major problem in front of fraternity peoples, how to start research. Dr. Kamath sir gave solution through his presentation. He has explained research methodology with details, different steps in research. He said one very important thing, to search problem, not to go towards Dr. Google, go to society, find out the problem for the research. He has covered up many topics related to the research. So fantastic. All these things are beneficial to us in doing research. I think sir has presented every concept very briefly and clearly. His presentation is more informative and knowledgeable. So I appreciate and congratulate Dr. Kamath sir for wonderful and excellent presentation. We look forward more informative lectures to hear from him in future. Thank you, sir, for your kind efforts and cooperation. I also thankful to Dr. Tobrekar, sir. Over to Dr. Charjan, madam. Madam is on a line. With this, we conclude this function.
You conclude it, sir. Because only Sachin Jhende has to be asked to take a photograph, because everybody knows that I always request everybody to put their video on, right? So
Yes, sir.
nice to see everybody. And Sachin, are
Yes,
you
sir.
there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, good. I mean, I should not do your work.
So all are requested to put your video on for some time.
Amishi, why your video is not on? Okay, please continue. Everybody is very seems to be very intellectual, right?
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks to our Vandari Madam, Honorable our Secretary, sir, Abhijit Vandari, sir, President of Modern College, Egote, sir, Principal of Modern College, Principal of our college, and especially Joshi, sir, Pabrekar, sir, and finally Kaman, sir. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll meet tomorrow once again.